is the tobacco leaves they have just picked up in the fields. You smell them? Nothing. However, you smell this one after the fermentation process. This one is better. He's very proud. Yeah. He doesn't want me to be showing. Huh?
How many days after?
This one?
Yeah.
2 years
2 years.
after they picked up the leaves.
Really?
Fermentation process, classification process, more fermentation process. Minimum 2 years. 1.5, 2 years in the case of farmers. At a larger scale state, the leaves will be taken to a kind of warehouse with a special temperature conditions and humidity conditions, and they stay there for about a year. And that's part of they call it part of the curing process. So it's quite complicated. That's a beautiful tobacco leaf, and according to its texture, I could say this one is from the middle to the bottom. It grew from the middle to the bottom of the plant. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can smell it, and then you can smell this if you want, and then you will see the difference. When we talk about fermentation process, we mean the leaves will get rid of the nitrogenated substances, they get rid of the acidity, they get rid of the excess water. It's a kind of curing process. So you can smoke it and it is not so harmful.
All the leaves here are resting for 2 years.
No. The leaves will be here for 60, 70 days.
Okay.
After these 6 or 70 days, they will make a bunch of leaves. And then they will prepare 3 places in the tobacco drying house. Remember, for the bottom leaves, center and top. They will put all the leaves together. They will make a big, huge pile of leaf. And that's the first, they call first pre-fermentation process. 60, 70 days, somebody from the Cuban state, from Cuba company, will come, weight the leaves, weight the tobacco leaves, see the quality of the tobacco leaves, and that's how they get paid. And then the leaves are taken to a place where there is a first classification. They say these leaves are going to be used for binders. This one's for wrapper, this one's for filler. And then the leaves which are going to be used for filler, they will be packed up in some kind of sack we call jute sack. And they will be there for 8 months, 1 year, 1.5 or 2 years. The leaves which are going to be used for binders and wrappers, they will be using this. What I said at the beginning, the base of the leaf of the royal palm. They make a big box with this kind of bale, and they put that kind of leaf inside for a year. And then they take the leaves to another place. There are places that work with the binders, places that work with the wrappers, places that work with the filler. In the case of the filler, they will classify the leaves according to 4 different classes, and that has to do with the strength. They call it strength 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're going to make a punch or Bolivar cigar, you will be using leaves classified for strength 1, which are the strongest, and so on and so forth. This place we're going to see later on, after we leave here, they are usually working with the binders, but it's another fermentation and classification process. In this case, they will classify the leaves only according to size. Obviously, a Cohiba Maduro, a Romeo Julieta A will be needing a bigger leaf than a Monte Cristo number 4, which is a very small cigar, compared to Cohiba Esplendido or Lancero or Maduro, etc. See what I mean? I told you it's quite complicated. There are a lot of details. One day is not enough. One day is not enough. And well, Ivan here, he will show us how farmers usually make their own cigars. It's not, they're not professionals, but they know what they do. Yeah. Now, one of the first things you do with the leaves before you make a cigar is to devein the leaf. Here, I was told you will find over 55-58% of nicotine. Most of the nicotine present in the tobacco leaf will be here. This vein, they will be using it to make something they call tabaquina. That tabaquina is a kind of natural insecticide. You put this in water for 24 hours. The water gets this kind of brownish color. You spray that water on the tobacco leaves, for example, during the fermentation process. No insects, no mold, no nothing. But this is known since many, many years ago. My father died at the age of 92, 15 years ago. And we used to, I was born in the countryside. He didn't have a big farm. He just had a backyard, big backyard. And he had chickens and turkeys and pigs. And when hens were nesting, they were on the nests with the eggs, incubating the eggs, he would put pieces of this in the nest to keep ants and insects away. So this is known since many, he didn't discover it. No. And they might also throw these away in the tobacco fields. It's good for the land as organic fertilizer. It rots away, it's a kind of compost. And then it fertilizes, it helps the land. Remember, tobacco is a solanaceous, like tomato. It takes a lot from the soil. And that is also why they need to throw these also to help the soil to recover. And that is also why there will be, after tobacco, they will be growing beans and corn on the same soil. Because legumes will fix nitrogen in the soil. And corn, at the same time, generates some kind of bacteria that kill insects attacking beans. So it's a kind of symbiotical interchange that ends up being good for the soil. All right? Métele mañengue que si sigo hablando. Okay, here we have the filler. Remember, like 3 or 4 leaves to ensure aroma, combustion, strength, smell. Just one more remark, one trick for you to know if a cigar has been properly made. The leaf for combustion will be a very thick leaf, and that one will go right in the center of the cigar, right in the middle. Consequently, the leaves around this one will be burning quicker. When the ash falls off, instead of seeing a hole, you see a cone. Understand? You got the idea? Okay. Dale, mañana. Gracias a Dios. Estoy sin garganta. Me metí la excursión esa en Cabo San Antonio, el crucero ese, que esos son como 2 horas y media hablando y lo único es más de animales, y cuando pasa la primera guagua se espantan todos los animales y no van nada. Es el diablo. Notice how he will be pushing all his fingers at the same time. Why? Because if you push this one first, this one later, the cigar might not be compacted, might not be solid. It will be harder here, softer here, and it wouldn't be burning evenly. It's a nice one. I told you, he knows what he's doing. Well, you have the filler and the binder. Then you would put it into this mold. Of course, this is just a demonstration he's doing. The cigar is supposed to be thicker. So when he puts it here and he puts the mold, it's supposed to press them down so they get solid and compact. In cigar factories, they have a kind of press for that. He doesn't have the press. He will have a brick. A very heavy brick and put it on top. And this is cedar wood. Very good to keep the aroma and smell in cigars. Actually, the humidors are made up of cedar wood, and the cigar boxes, cedar wood. If you buy a box of cigars on the street, it wouldn't be cedar, it will be pine trees. Pine wood, most of the time. To buy cigars on the street is not quite recommendable. You have to have a good connection. You have to know the people, because one of the tricks they will be using is that my father works in the factory, my uncle works in the factory, and then you might be finding banana leaves inside there. So it's complicated. Still you can find, of course, real cigars on the street, but it's complicated, risky. All right, and this will be the wrapper. Remember, these leaves will be growing at the bottom of the plant. That is why no direct sunlight, so they are more flexible, they are more elastic. It's just like, you see, nothing happens. Goes back to where you once belonged. You see? There you go. You can touch it and you can feel the oil, I told you, that made these leaves the best in Cuba. ¿Qué tú le echas ahí al final para pegarlo? ¿Salió cotorra?
Miel y el almidón de la yuca. Todavía la salida no pega.
Okay, at a state level, in cigar factories, they will be using a kind of glue they import from Canada. It's not from the maple tree. It's kind of similar. They call it tragacant, and the sap of that tree is a kind of glue, and they use it to stick this end here so it wouldn't unroll. Farmers farmers in Cuba don't have that kind of imported glue, so they will be using local things like, you know, manioc, tapioca, the starch of manioc and honey. They make that kind of glue, and that's what they will be using. All right, here's the cigar, and then you're supposed to keep it there for maybe 2 hours, and then you can smoke it. Right now it's too humid. What most of the farmers do is they wrap them up in a newspaper, for example, they put it in the sun for 20 minutes. The paper will absorb the water inside, and then it will be okay. Okay, in Cuba, you are supposed to drink a mojito, you're supposed to dance salsa, and you're supposed to smoke a cigar. Otherwise, you have not been in Cuba. I will tell you I will tell you some tricks to smoke cigars. I mean, smoking cigarettes, they say it's a bad habit. Smoking cigars is an art. Okay, you first choose. You select the kind of cigar you like. I mean, you don't know it until that moment if you are gonna like it or not. But if you want a mild, a strong cigar, then you have to do some research, and then you choose the cigar you want to smoke. You have the cigar in your hands, no perfume, no colony, no creams, nothing. Otherwise, when you smoke, you will be smelling all these different artificial things, and this is tobacco. I mean, you're supposed to smoke a cigar the way it's meant to be, pure tobacco leaves. And then you look at it, you feel it, you smell it, you smile, you look at the girl over there, and then you get a cutter or pair of scissors, or simply your teeth. Just a little hole will do. Then you need a cedar match, not a butane torch, because you will also be adding artificial smells and then aromas and so on and so forth. A cedar match, that is why in every cigar, every box of cigars, you will see pieces of cedar wood. You light up the cedar wood, and with the cedar wood, you light up the cigar. And then you keep it in your teeth. It's too heavy to keep it in your lips, like a cigarette. Huh? Like this. You light it up, go around, making sure you light it up all around. So if it has been properly rolled, if it has been properly made, it will be burning evenly. And that is why you're supposed to puff it and turn it over, like this. And that's why you hold it like this, you see. Like Yucatan Peninsula and Florida hold the island of Cuba. All right, like this. You puff it and you turn it over. Why? Because if you're smoking in the wind, that window is open, the wind is blowing inside, it's coming in this direction. You keep it steady, it will be burning quicker here than here, and you wouldn't like it. You want your cigar to burn evenly and regularly. You're supposed to puff it every 20 seconds, but a properly rolled, properly made cigar will be burning at least for 2 or 3 minutes on an ashtray, like this. It will be burning there. And you will see this thread of smoke very smooth going up. Then you hold it like this, or like this, if you're a man. If you see a man holding a cigar like this, there might be some sexual misdirection. I don't have nothing to do with that. I mean, I don't mind. And then you puff it, you look at it, you turn it over. You never put the ash off. No, the ash will help combustion and aroma. And then there will come a time, of course, when the ash will fall down. In Havana, they celebrate a competition every year during the Havana Festival to see who can get the longest ash, to go to the Guinness Book of Record. And then, even more important than all that, we have just been talking about tobacco for half an hour. But I told you the book I read, 535 different activities, 130 different times you have to manipulate the tobacco leaves. So it's a long, long time for fermentation, classification, until you finally make the cigar, and a lot of work and a lot of intensive labor in the fields. So it would be a misrespect to finish smoking it and throw it away. No. You finish smoking your cigar and you put it somewhere, just like that, and you let it die with honor and dignity. Okay? All right. Entonces, ¿qué nos queda?
Una bala.
Yeah. Farmers in Cuba. Yeah.
You always have to smoke it at one time?
No. It goes off, you leave it there. 2 hours, 3 hours, next day, you light it up again. No problem. At the time you're smoking, you want to smoke a cigar and you realize it is too humid. You can put it at the back of the refrigerator. There's some kind of heat there for a few minutes. It will take all the humidity out. If on the other hand it is too dry, then you put the cigar on top of some recipient with boiling water. The steam will get into the cigar just a few minutes and then it will be humid again. It happens that this leaf outside here is very, very thin. Very thin. And if it dries out and you touch it, it will very easily break. If it breaks, the air will escape and there would be a right circulation, a right ventilation in there. So, and it's going everywhere. You're not smoking it properly. That is why it's so important to keep this outside leaf in one piece, not broken. Now, farmers, they are supposed to sell 90% of their production to the Cuban state. I know they do. They sell 90% to the Cuban state, and they usually keep around 30% for them. That's a good mathematics. Is that true?
Tú sabes que no sé matemática, no.
He says he's not he didn't go to school. He doesn't know math. He doesn't even know what I'm talking about. He does. And with these 90% is the cigars you will see in your countries for export, and the cigars you will see in the shops, Havana shops. With these 30% or these 10%, they will be using them for their own consumption and for selling some raw material to people on the street and selling a few cigars to people who come here to visit. So if you would like to take some souvenirs back to your countries, friends, for you, Christmas Eve, whatever, you can talk to him.
No, están ahí para que vean ellos.